Hi everyone, I'm Alex from Jolly Study Square, and in today's video, I'm going to be answering some frequently asked questions we get when people are shopping for Jolly Phonics materials. So the question we get asked the most often is, what's the difference between a pupil book and a student book? To answer this, we're going to take a look at a bigger question, and that's, what's the difference between the British edition of materials and the North American version of materials? When Jolly Phonics started about 30 years ago, they only offered the British version of materials, but over time they noticed that there was demand for good synthetic phonic materials in North America, and so they made some adaptations and created a North American version. Now, the pupil book and the student book, they're almost exactly the same book, but the small changes that we'll see between the two are affected by having this difference in British and North American version. First off, the difference that you'll see right away with the pupil book and the student books is a difference in size. A lot of the British editions of materials are printed on A4 paper, whereas North American editions of materials, like the student book, are printed on 8.5 by 11-inch paper, which are both standard paper sizes for the regions in which they're printed. A similar difference to this would be audio tracks in some materials. For example, in the British edition, the songs that are sung in Jolly Songs are sung by a children's choir from England, whereas for the North American materials, they're sung by a children's choir in Canada. Another difference you'll see between these two editions is differences in spelling and word choices. As you can see here, there's differences in dialect spelling for words such as color, recognize, and program. Differences in word choices would be for things like in British English, they'd say pavement, whereas in American English, you would say sidewalk. Or similarly, in British English, you would say courgette, and in American English, you would say zucchini. Also, sometimes words have slightly different meanings between the two dialects. And a good example of this would be like saying crisps in British English would be chips in American English, and chips in British English would be French fries in American English. Now, differences in spelling and word choice don't come up often in the Jolly Phonics materials, but you might notice them from time to time. Also, if there's a word that you don't know, or you're wondering why is it included in this page, it may have to do with that. One example of this is often people will ask, why is there a jump rope on this page, where really the British edition is intending skipping rope. The biggest difference we see between the British and the North American versions is for the final phoneme that's taught in the Jolly Phonics curriculum. This is for the AR sound that makes the R sound. Now, in the British edition, the AR sound sounds similar to ah, and the action and the picture that accompany it are of a doctor asking a patient to say ah, and the gesture that students will learn is ah. However, in the North American edition, the sound sounds more like R, so the action and the picture represent a seal barking. And so for the gesture, the students will learn R, R, R. Now, when you're shopping for Jolly Phonics material, you may want to take note, is it British edition or North American edition? Because this picture will be different throughout a lot of the core materials, including the Jolly Phonics handbook, the student books, the workbooks, and the finger phonic books. So the second question we get asked the most is, what's the difference between pre-cursive and imprint letters? Sometimes people don't know to ask this question, but it may affect the types of materials that they're getting, so it's really important that everyone take a look at it. So pre-cursive letters are letters that prepare students for joined up or cursive writing. And so there's little tails at the end of the letter. As you can see in the image above, there's a little tail at the end of that N. And so when students learn to write this, they're going to start at the top of the line, go down, touch, up and over, and then they're going to do a little upward tick at the end. This is true of most letters in the pre-cursive line. Imprint letters, on the other hand, are going to stop the letter stroke in a downward motion at the bottom of the line. So as you can see here, the N would be written starting at the top, go down, touch, up, over, and stop. Now, when you're shopping for Jolly Phonics materials, the way to tell the difference between pre-cursive and imprint letters is if you see this little blue box. The little blue box has imprint letters on it. So If you don't see this blue box on materials, it means that they're pre-cursive letters. If you see it say imprint letters, then you know it's imprint letters. Now, don't get confused about edition. This doesn't have to do with British or North American editions. British editions of materials are primarily printed in pre-cursive letters, and not every material has an imprint version. Some of the core materials do though, such as the Jolly Phonics Handbook and the Pupil books. The North American editions, on the other hand, are generally printed in both pre-cursive and imprint letters, and so if you're shopping North American versions of materials, you'll have a choice between the two. Now the final question we often get asked is, where can I buy Jolly Phonics materials in Japan? The easy answer now is, you can buy them from us on our online bookstore. I've linked it down in the description. We offer the entire lines for Jolly Phonics, Jolly Grammar, and Jolly Music materials. It's really important though that you note that we only really carry imprint letters and North American versions of materials. So if you want pre-cursive or British versions of materials, you can order them from us, but we ask that you give us a 2 to 3 month lead time on the order so that we have time to get it in from the UK and then ship it on to you. Thanks for watching our video today. I hope I answered all the questions you guys generally have when you're shopping for Jolly Phonics materials. If you guys have more questions, put them down on the comment section below and I'll be sure to answer them. You can also contact us on Facebook or by email anytime with any questions you have. Also, please like this video, subscribe, and share it with your friends. We really appreciate the support. Thanks again for watching this video, and we'll see you in the next one.